What's up? How you doing? And most importantly, what the hell are you spinning? Because it's What You Spinnin' episode 98. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, and that's Jake. Uh we have some great stuff to talk about today. But before we get into that, Matt and Jake, what's new? What's exciting? You listening to anything cool that you want to tell the people about?
I've been listening to a lot of cool stuff, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm probably going to bring up this band for the next pick. So I'm just going to keep it
Okay.
quiet. Yeah, yeah.
All
Ooh,
right.
I
all right.
went back down like a little rabbit hole this week. It's been fun. So
Hell yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
I
okay.
like the sound of that.
yeah,
Jake, what do you got? You got anything fun?
Wild card. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean I just sent you guys it yesterday. We've been getting back into like a kick of playing Minecraft, like stoned out of our minds. And
Nice.
yeah, we're like building our base. We're going into the nether, mining, building some stuff. Been really into like some ambient music lately. That album that I sent you guys yesterday is kind of what's been coming up a lot. It's called People on Sunday by Dominique Dumont. It's pretty good.
I
I
agree.
want to see, I haven't looked at it on physical yet, but I think it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, just like Minecraft music, I guess. I don't know, ambient,
Yeah.
lo-fi, weird stuff. Been all over that.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, that's cool.
I like that. I gave a couple of tracks of that a listen today. That was a good pick. Do I have anything? Not really, honestly. Nothing crazy. Um, but I do want to pose a question.
Hmm.
And if you guys don't have an answer right now, we can think about it throughout the episode and then do it, do the answer portion before we intro our albums for next week.
Okay.
Sorry, or for next episode. And so I'll preface my question with this. I've got a car that doesn't automatically connect to my phone for Bluetooth, and so I still utilize CDs. I'm literally probably going to burn some CDs here in the near future to supplement some of that. Um, and we've kind of experienced a couple of these shows together, so that's why I kind of wanted to ask this question. If you could see any album performed in its entirety by the band that recorded it, a la Floater covering Animals, a la Billy Woods doing most of Hiding Places, which album would you see? Alternatively, if you can't decide that, what, and not just to hear the entire album as a set list, but you could be like, oh, this album because I know that the songs that were big before this album would also get played. Like in a, you can get super specific or you can just be like, I just want to hear fucking Ride the Lightning all the way through performed live. Like that type of shit.
Wow,
Oh,
that's a deep question, man.
that is a deep question.
Twisted, twisted. How dare you put us on the spot like that?
Well,
No,
let's
it's a good question. I like it.
let's go ahead and put a pin in it and
Yeah.
revisit it at the end of the ep
Okay.
then, huh?
Yeah. Give us a minute to think. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
revisit at the end. I like it.
Yeah.
I like
I like posing the question at the beginning so that way the viewer's like, ooh, now there's a
it.
reason to listen to the end.
Yeah. I gotta stay.
Yeah,
Stick around.
absolutely.
Yes.
Well, yeah, what Matt said. Go ahead and stick around because
Stick
it's What
around.
You Spin in episode 98. It's a rare nighttime recording. The boys are about to get a little
Ooh.
fun and silly.
Spooky.
We will be right back to kick things off with a beautiful pick from my main man, Matt. Like I said, it's What You Spinning. This
Matt,
window.
what album is that? It looks
It's
freaky.
I know it's the third album by Danzig. The album art's from H.R. Geiger. He did the art for the album. It's like based on the character the alien from the movie Aliens. By the way,
Yeah, I was gonna say
have
it
you
looks
guys
like
watched that series on FX? The
No,
Alien. Oh,
I've
dude,
been wanting to. Which
the music is fucking incredible. It's like all the bands we love are usually titled or songs at the end of the episode. Like they've got Tool, Maynard, Nine Inch Nails, like all these random
Ooh.
picks, and it blends really well. But the show's pretty good. It's worth watching.
Hmm.
Which one is it the like the cartoon like
Not the
animated one or is
cartoon,
it
no. It's the real life. It's called Alien Earth, and it's on
Oh, okay,
FX.
okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you can watch it
I've
on.
been wanting to I want to watch that one and the like the animated one. I've been wanting to watch
Yeah,
both of them. I just haven't had time.
yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
Okay.
You should definitely check it out. It's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Just for the music alone. Yeah,
I like the sound of that for sure.
yeah.
Hell yeah. That's a good, yep, gotta jot that down real quick. Hell yeah. Well, it's about that time. We've had you waiting long enough. Let's talk about today's content.
Yes.
And this is one I'm pretty stoked to talk about. It's Matt's pick for this week, this wonderful episode 98. What you got for me, pal?
Matt, that's me. I've got a pick from a band that we've never talked about, and I don't really know a lot about this band, but their first few albums are really good, and this is one of my favorites. It's from 1981. It's their second album. It's the album October by the band U2. Bono, everybody knows Bono, The Edge, the guitar player. They had amazing albums after this, and this album kind of showcases their early, successes and like I don't know, kind of finding out who they are. They were basically kind of a Christian band or kind of turning into one before this album came out and during the album. And we're almost going to break up because of that. So it's kind of a cool backstory behind it. A lot of things I didn't know until I started diving a little bit more into it. But I like the album because it feels more political. It feels more outspoken. It feels more like lyrically, just a bit more like that not teenage aggression, but that like early adolescent aggression, like just getting things out and like being pissed off at the world, like seeing things from a different viewpoint. I think Bono is just a good songwriter, and the Edge, I think his guitar playing as well is very distinct. Like you can kind of tell his style, especially on this album early on. So really cool album. Again, it's their second release, short and sweet. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this was a fun one for me because I got super into U2, at least like two, like I got super into Joshua Tree and War back when I was like 13, 14 years old. My stepdad introduced me to him. I had heard Gloria, I watched Under a Blood Red Sky, which was the documentary that was kind of right around this. Um, and so I never like I had heard some of these songs, but never this album in its entirety. And my God, was it a treat? You kind of said it perfectly there. The Edge, his whole thing with playing guitar is like his use of effects. Like he's kind of a wizard with using effects pedals. Um, and he has a very specific sound and tone. U2 does as a band.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, it's their second album, but you can listen to this and you listen to songs like Jerusalem and you're like, "Oh, yeah, this is a fucking U2 song." Like this sounds like stuff off of Joshua Tree. This sounds like stuff off of Disco. Like there's kind of that's like one of the songs that I was listening to that I was like, oh yeah, this is a U2 song. This was one of those instances on this album where they were like, oh, that's kind of the format. That's like kind of gonna be our thing. And so it's fun to go back and you see the album cover. They're young as hell. They look like they're what's his name from Depeche Mode, like I see the young Bono and I see the super young picture of the guys from Depeche Mode and I'm like, oh dude, they were just
The
babies.
album cover on this one, you're kind of like, wait a minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
they do look similar. Yeah.
The hair's just crazy, like,
Right.
it's wonderful. And Bono and this band, like there's so many things that you could shit on. South Park's done it enough.
Mm.
But when you cut it down to brass tacks and we're here to talk music, the shit rules. Like it's good and it's stood the test of time. Uh, and yeah, I'm like, how the hell did I not listen to this album in its entirety back then?
Mm.
But I was 13, I was like, up 2 albums from a band, that's good. I'm going to use that as my personality for the next year and a half. But anyway, big fan, love this, love you too. I do think it's insane that it's taken 98 episodes for us to talk about them. But I digress. Jake, what do you think, pal?
Yeah, this was like my first time sitting down listening to a full U2 album, full U2 project. I've obviously heard of them. I've heard a couple songs from them, liked their music, but never really got into one of their projects. And this being one of their earlier ones, I feel like it's pretty good because you kind of see where they were coming, building up from, like you mentioned, Matt, being their second album. I think it's funny reading up on it that yeah, it kind of does have that like Christian rock feel that they kind of were indecisive what they were going to do with their lives, if they were going to pursue music, pursue this, if they were going to split up, keep making music, whatever. You kind of hear that throughout the lyrics. Throughout, it's kind of has these introspective lyrics about, like Christianity and religion and stuff like that. But for what it is, for the music that you hear, it's really good, and it has that textbook 80s feel also. It has that like nostalgic 80s feel of that rock and roll that you hear throughout the whole album. So it was a good listen. I was kind of surprised, like hearing their more popular stuff. I was like, oh, okay, it's probably going to be something along those lines, but not at all. It's like, very different. It feels a lot more down to the core, kind of, pretty stripped out, just raw rock and roll. It's got some really cool songs also, like October that has that cool, it's like a piano song pretty much, like a piano ballad. So
Mhm.
it's cool that they have these different sides that they were showing so early on. But yeah, pretty good listen. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think U2 have definitely a distinct sound. Like you don't really hear another band that sounds like that, whether it's the guitar and the Edge doing his thing, or even Bono and his falsettos. I don't know. You can just tell when Bono's singing. He's such a great musician and songwriter in general. And this album's just fun for me. I, After doing some more backstory reading and stuff like that, I guess that they did have, pretty much an album or a lot of lyrics put together at one point that ended up getting lost backstage at a show in Portland, Oregon. That's what I read. I think that's hilarious. Like, what the hell happened? Like, where did that go? Does somebody still have that? Is that like the lost tracks of U2 that will never be found? And like, how different was it? Because I wonder if they were able to recreate a few of the songs that are on this album with what they had or what they didn't have. So, kind of a weird backstory. I love this album. It's great no matter what. A lot of the songs on here, you can kind of hear their later on influences throughout the album. A lot of things influenced them for this period of early 80s with like Joy Division and bands like that were out. But you too, man. Very distinct, very fun.
Yeah, and this is like I said, it's a fun listen because you do kind of see, oh yeah, like and it's that early eight, it's like 1981,
Mm,
this and you can kind of listen to this album and be like, wow, this was almost ahead of its time, but moving from the 70s to the 80s was almost as aggressive a transition from that the 80s to the 90s were, if that makes sense.
mm,
Like because you start moving away from like acid rock and all this stuff and technology's kind of expanding and uh these four dudes like they're you can almost kind of like you kind of said you can almost feel the frustration and hear it in the music both like top to bottom, whether it's the vocals, the guitar, the drum, the bass, like uh you know I threw a brick through a window, like that song title alone, but then
mm,
they're getting super out there with it. Like Bono's doing crazy like vocal delay and vocal effects, which people were not doing. Like
mm,
that alone was ahead of its time, like using vocal echo and type of like crazy shit like that. And, October, you brought it up, Jake. Incredible song. Edge gets to show off that he can play piano like almost as good as
mm,
he can play guitar, in my opinion. And yeah, it starts off with Gloria, which is probably it's like one of their biggest songs. Um, but in my opinion, it's not even the best song on the album.
no.
You've got
Not
Rejoice, which is a hell of a
right.
track. Dude,
Stranger in a
like
Strange Land, dude. Like,
Stranger in a Strange
yeah,
Land. That's what I'm
get off me.
saying, dude.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those albums that you're like, "Oh yeah, I know October. That's the one that has Gloria on it." And it's like,
Mm,
"But do you actually know October
right.
and how good these songs are and how they
Mm,
blow Gloria out of the water?" Like and so I'm very grateful that you brought this up. If Matt, you've done it again. You did it with Bowie. You're like, I'm gonna pick Black Star, which is
mm,
everyone says they love it, but it is pretty polarizing for Bowie. And
yeah.
then October, which was, kind of tumultuous for the band itself, to think that you two almost didn't do Joshua Tree and Discotheque, and I literally like went through and read about all of their albums when I was listening to this, like literally the Monday after we recorded last episode. I was like, let me see the like. Anyway, I
And
forgot.
Brian Eno was a part of Joshua Tree. Isn't that
Dude, that's what
amazing?
I was
Right?
just
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking A. That's such a good album. That album was one of those albums that's like start to finish, almost like every song on there is like either had a music video or was a good song on the radio. It's you
Hmm.
don't see albums like that. There's very few in history that are like that. So bands
Right.
that are able to create that magic on one album is fucking awesome. So
And if you were to, I almost want to get shown like people getting into you two in like a time lapse,
mhm.
and like hear their discography and like see how people reacted to it. Because October is kind of like right before the water starts to boil. You know what I mean? Like, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff on here that you listen to and you're like, oh yeah, this is what you two would continue to build their sound off of, and what they were kind of known for. Uh, just so it's hilarious to me, because it's like, did people realize like, oh, like how popular was this album really when it came out is kind of
Yeah.
what I want to know, because
Mm,
I'm sure if I were to pay attention and like do the research and go to like
mm.
community forums and Reddit, I'm sure U2 fans are like, October fucking rules, because I
Yeah.
mean, it quite frankly does.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I mean, Stranger in a Strange Land is another really strong song that
mm.
I think, I think if we were to compare, not to compare, but we have a couple of times Joshua Tree to this. I think Joshua Tree's songwriting from Bono is a lot stronger. Um,
Yes.
but if I were to say performance wise,
Mm,
Bono's singing his ass off on this album, and
mm.
and that's hard to talk. Like, there's so much emotion on it, like the brother, like all of the it's nuts, dude. I was
Yeah.
like, man, Bono's kind of a douchebag, but the dude's got pipes. I'm like, the dude can fucking
He can
sing.
sing. He can sing.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
his voice is like iconic. Like you hear this and like that's him. That's their sound. And they were like building that up like perfectly in the
Mm,
early 80s. The fact that this came out in 81 is wild to me. Because it's so young, so early on in their whole career, and then just after this, the whole catalog they have building off of it, the run that they had afterwards, like it's just insane. So yeah, it was like my first actual proper album from theirs that I was like, okay, like now I get the appeal. Now I get why people like you two so much. So it's really good, and I would definitely go back to listen to some of their other works, like Joshua Tree. I've heard a couple of songs, obviously the bigger ones that are still played on the radio nowadays, but like yeah, for what this album was, it's really solid. So yeah, thanks for bringing it up.
hell yeah. Glad you guys liked it.
Yeah.
You guys want to
Um,
dive in? You got something else to
oh,
say? You got something else, my lord. Do you have something else to say?
My
no,
lord.
I think I've kind of I know I shit on Gloria. It's a great song. I just want
It's a
to
good
make
it's a
that
good
known.
way to start off the album, I think. It reels you in
Exactly.
like that's the U2 sound right there. Just like that cool, like kind of delayed sound, like you say, Edge is creating with his instrument and then Bono with his
Yeah.
lyrics. Yeah.
And I kind of think Gloria and Jerusalem are almost like a pair of songs that they just like, if they were to play those live one into the other, it would make perfect sense. But I kind of love the fact that they're like what, six, seven songs apart, because it's kind of like you get back to that same energy that Gloria had uh started the album with.
Mm,
So yeah, and I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say it. I love when a track listing seems intentional, and when a track, the way that an album's laid out tracks wise, is like kind of like an interesting. It kind of keeps you on your toes, you
mm.
know. So I love that. But yeah, we can go ahead and dive on in if you're ready, pal.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Honorable mention for me. We just shit on the song, but it's a good way to start it off. Gloria, it's a good one. It's got the U2 sound, and it's on my list. And then at number three, We go with I threw a brick through a window. I like the title of it, and it's just kind of a catchy one. I think it's more one of the more catchier tunes on this album for sure. Uh, Number two is that all. Kind of towards the end of the album, I think it's just like a great way to end it. Because is that all? No, there's a lot more for these guys. And then my favorite song, like we talked about a little while ago, was "Stranger in a Strange Land." I think that captures the sound of U2 pretty well early on. I think anybody that hears that song will be like, "Oh yeah, it's U2." And it's, if you can create your own sound like they did, that's fucking incredible. So
Yeah,
there you go.
I agree. And with all that being said, Gloria is my honorable mention too, and it was
Well,
it was from the jump. Number three for me is Rejoice. That was kind of a late, like the past 3 days, I've been getting really into that song. Number two for me was Jerusalem, and then I love that vocal effect on I threw a brick through a window. There's a lot of good stuff on that song, so that's my favorite.
Honorable mention for me was October. I thought that's definitely the most different song on the album. The piano is a cool side that they show on it. Number three was Tomorrow. I like that build up. It's a really good build up to the song. Number two was Is That All? That song just has really good energy. It's like really just high pace the whole time. And favorite track was Rejoice.
Nice. Hell yeah. I love that. Rejoice, hell of a track. October by U2, hell of an album. And if you haven't listened to this and you've only heard Gloria, I implore you, please listen to the full thing and then go ahead and do a little U2 deep dive. It's fun, you know? There's
lots of good
something for
stuff out there.
everybody. Um,
Rattle and hum. That's another good one.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
literally the album
yeah,
name I was trying to think of earlier.
yeah.
Fucking thank you.
I just looked it
Rattle
up. I just looked it up. I was like, "There's another album we didn't talk about."
Yeah, Rattle and Hum. That's a
Yeah,
great one too. That's an Eno. That was an Eno one. I think that was the
it
first
might.
one Eno did with him.
I think Joshua Tree was because Rattle and Hum came out after that in
Oh,
'88. It was right after
yep.
it. Yeah,
Boom. There you go. Go ahead and listen to Rattle and Hum, Joshua Tree, War, but most importantly, listen to October by U2. That was Matt's pick for this week, released in 1981. This beautiful episode 98 of What You Spinning. It's dark outside, so it's about to get real crazy. Go
crazy.
ahead and stick around. We'll be right back. Peace. It's been a while since we've talked about this subsect of hip hop, I
Griselda.
guess.
That was good. That was
Griselda.
good.
This subsect of hip hop, one that I have gotten into a little more recently, especially during the spring. I was listening to a lot of these guys, so I'm particularly excited to talk about this. So what you spin in episode 98? It's time to move on. U2's fantastic. Go ahead and listen to them, but it's time to talk about Jake's pick, which is what, my man?
Yeah, let's talk about my pick. My pick now. From King to a God by Conway the Machine came out in 2020. Is what it looks like. Got a cool numbered pressing, and
What?
yes, we
Fuck
spin
yeah.
our
Ooh,
records.
nice.
But yeah, his debut album, which is weird to say because he's dropped so many mixtapes before this, but this is his actual first major debut with the actual record label. Pretty good. It's got a bunch of features, bunch of different producers. Conway the Machine, he's another one of the main col members of the collective Griselda with Conway, Benny the Butcher, and West Side Gun. We brought up Benny the Butcher and West Side Gun before, but not this guy, not Conway. So he's got definitely his own style to him. He's got his own cool backstory. He's got a bunch of, hard-hitting bars, cool beats, the basics, but he's also has his own introspective style of rapping. He's very personal. This album feels a lot like that. Like you get some songs that are really meaningful, and he's a very good storyteller. That's what hip hop is all about. So, yeah, what do you guys think about it?
Conway, the motherfucking machine, man.
Mm.
It's it, I think between him and Benny the Butcher, I'm always a toss-up between which is my favorite off of the Griselda label. I respect West Side Gun. The memeability with West Side is hilarious, but the guy
Yeah.
no the thing I love about West Side Gun, I'll talk about him for just 2 seconds. I love anything he executive produces. Like that Mock Hami album is fucking phenomenal. It's literally perfect, 10 out of 10 for me. And that being said, it runs in the family because fucking Conway the Machine, this is another insanely good album. I was completely unfamiliar with this. I think I was more like probably lately I was more listening to like Conway features, but yeah, man, it's crazy. And like you said, I was texting you this. I said I know a fucking Alchemist beat when I hear one, and him and Derringer producing one song is Banana Land, and
Right.
it's incredible. It's probably the best song in the album. Doan, what is it? Doan Damani? Yeah, that
Yeah.
crazy. And outside of that, you get Freddie Gibbs. Obviously, huge fans of him around here. West Side's feature is sick. Benny's feature is sick. Like it's this is but then like obviously the stuff that Conway does, his solo tracks are super impressive as well. Also, couldn't tell you the last time I heard a Dej Loaf song or feature. Didn't know she was still rapping. So hell yeah. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But yeah, overall, big fan of this. It does kind of, if you listen to it enough, you can kind of see a theme like that from king to a god. Like that's kind of a an underlying theme. And I love like the what are they called? Like Shay's interlude, Shay's
Mhm.
words or whatever. Those are super cool to me as like a weird little spoken word piece. But yeah, overall, big fan of this album. So thank you for bringing it up. Big fan.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. First of all, he's a very confident rapper. Like I've never listened to a Conway project. The only thing I've heard is Benny the Butcher from some of the albums we've talked about on the podcast. But that was like the thing that caught me right away was his confidence and his ability to rap really good bars and have lyrics that are not just your average hip hop lyrics. And I kind of like dove into it based off of that. So he's got the confidence behind him. He's got some cool lyrics throughout the album, and I like the Benny the Butcher features. Not really a fan of West Side Gun when he's on tracks. Like I love his
Yeah.
production, but like when he starts rapping, it's like, oh, it's West Side, and it's cool. It's
Do
cool.
do do
No
do
no
do
hate.
do.
Yeah, no hate. No hate. I love him, but yeah,
Right.
this is a great album, and I'm glad that you brought it up because I never would even have thought to dive into this. And it was a fun listen, from the starting of the album all the way through. And it's got a lot of bangers on it. And I don't know, it's very accessible hip hop, and I don't know. Like I said when I started, he's very confident in what he's saying. It's like Dorian said, from a king to a god, you got that theme throughout the whole album, and he's definitely expressing that through his songwriting and uh, great production throughout the whole album. Really fun, really fun.
Hell yeah. Yeah, his West Side Gun's memeability will always be there.
You're right.
For sure. But this album, it's yeah, Conway, he's very confident as a rapper. And I think it shows because his bars, I mean, for excuse me, for like Griselda, like him and Benny really are kind of leading the way as far as lyricism goes. But I feel like Conway, to me, he's like one step above. And he's got a crazy backstory to him. I mean, he was shot multiple times. He has Bell's palsy, so he's like half of his face is paralyzed, and that's why he kind of talks with like a slur sometimes. Dude should have probably died because he got shot in the face and like the chest, and that's why he's has that condition. And throughout his projects and all his albums, he's very personable as an artist, as a rapper, and that's what I admire so much about him. You have songs like Forever Dropping Tears, where he's like, saying stuff about his, like their relative, machine, that like, he's very introspective and gets very personal about songs. Stuff also like The Cow, also notorious, song that he did that he, even in rap performances, like in live shows, he's cried performing that song, as a rapper. And that kind of shows a lot as like,
Mhm.
a maturity and like as a style as a rapper. Songs like Stressed off his other album and God Don't Make Mistakes. Songs like that is very personable. Like he's very introspective with what he's saying. It's all real life stuff that he's gone through, and he shows that through his music. So that's kind of something that I admire about him as a rapper is, yeah, you can flaunt your, whatever, whatever, but um, hip hop is so much about like storytelling and like how you're coming off with your words, and he does it perfectly.
Hmm.
But then again, you have songs like Do and Damani, like Dorian said. You have songs like Anza that have that upbeat, like kind of almost like garage drum sound to it with the Monty Caesar. So all around, it's like it feels definitely a lot more polished, it being his debut. Um, it feels a lot more polished. He got like really good producers, features. I mean, Method Man is on this. People like Lloyd Banks. So it's got definitely like the flair to it and everything backing it up. But his vocals definitely and his storytelling really kind of comes forward in this album. You kind of hear it throughout.
Yeah, it is the I think that was my biggest takeaway as well was like damn, the guy can really weave a tale, like really put you into his mind space and his situation. And I didn't know any of that extra stuff about him, the Bell's palsy. I think I knew about him getting shot. I didn't know he got shot in the goddamn face though. That's
Yeah.
insane. Like that's crazy. Uh to and there's you bring it up perfectly, like Forever Dropping Tears. Jesus Crisis is another good one, I think, for a solo song of on this album. I think it's crazy that it's at the end. It's one of those little tidbits that like if you stay, it's one of those if you stay till the end, you're gonna get a treat, and
Hmm.
that is Jesus Crisis to me. Um, one thing that I was thinking about earlier was if I think this might be if I were to try to introduce somebody to Conway the Machine, I would tell them literally listen to this album and don't skip anything, including the spoken word stuff, because the spoken word stuff is it almost for it does you a favor if you're doing that, right? Like if you're using this as a tool to get somebody into Conway the Machine, those spoken word things put everything into perspective for you and kind of give you a new way to listen to it. Like I think the first one he says, if you're getting into Griselda, this is, the Conway's the lyrics, he's like the Raekwon, kind of going
Yeah.
through, like going through that. And it's like, I actually, because I heard that on the first listen through, and I was like, I actually haven't fucking thought of that. Uh,
Hmm.
in it, I haven't thought about these guys in that sense because it is kind of funny most people I know that are into Griselda are also super into old school hip hop, like Biggie, Tribe, Doom, like all like it's just an extension of the old school underground is essentially what it is. And so to hear somebody be like, yeah, no, if you actually think about it this way and then listen to the album. So I would urge them to listen to the album once and then listen to it again, keeping that in mind, because it is a very interesting way to think about it, comparing these guys to, oh, he's the fun one, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was funny. I was doing stuff in the garage, and so I couldn't skip the spoken word parts this evening. And I was like, oh, it's actually kind of a fun way to listen to the album. So I did
Mhm.
appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, the from DJ Shay, RIP. Yeah, he says a lot of good stuff about these guys, and I mean, the Griselda, I feel like has been in the forefront of hip hop, especially East Coast hip hop. Like they leading the way with their collaborations, with their albums. Conway has kind of been the spearhead of all that because he's just such a phenomenal lyricist. Like on Jesus Crisis, like I think that's one of the craziest songs he's written because just the
Yeah.
lyrics on it are crazy. He says like one of the lyrics he says is lyrics written in Braille. You gotta feel it to understand.
Yeah.
What? Like that's so and then he says they trying to block my goals. I'm gonna make it messy. Like the double entendres he's saying, like the lyrics he's saying, it's just like it puts you in a different mindset. It's like, oh, like I get it. Like I you gotta kind of dissect it and kind of listen and really pay close attention because he'll throw you off guard. Like, that's what's cool about hip hop, I feel like, is when rappers can kind of spin a different narrative on a word and say it in a different phrase. It's like that's what it's about, that's what it's about.
Hmm.
Um And the storytelling. I love the storytelling. Like if you can tell a good story in a song and bring up a message from it, I mean, you're doing the right thing. So, yeah, I definitely have a lot of praise for this album. It's definitely one that I wanted to pick up when I picked it up initially. And I feel like it's been time. We've had to bring it up. We've brought up albums with Conway, with Griselda featuring, but I feel like it was time to bring up an actual full project of his. So. Yeah, glad you guys could give it a listen.
Hell yeah. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Enjoyed it.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, we can get into top threes if y'all want.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So for me, honorable mention, I'm going oh boy, what can I do? Let's do honorable mention. I'm going Seen Everything But Jesus with Freddie Gibbs. Really good track, like the beat on that. Probably one of the rare chances we're gonna see of Freddie Gibbs now because he's beefing with Benny and Griselda, sadly. But it's
Yeah.
cool that we still get a feature from him. Number three, I am going Nothing Less. That's a cool DJ Premier beat on it. I think it's cool that he was on the album. Number two, Doe and Damani. That beat switch is insane. And then my favorite track, Forever Dropping Tears. I love that storytelling that he does in the album. I feel like that's definitely one of the strong points of the album.
Hell yeah. And my last tidbit, I will just slide into my top threes because it's also quoting that song we were just talking about. But honorable mention for me is Anza. That beat's just so fun. I don't know why that beat is really fun. I'm not too familiar with Armani Caesar, but killed it on that. Number three for me was Seen Everything But Jesus. Same reason you just said, Jake. There's a snowball's chance in a microwave. We'll get another one of these, so enjoy it while we've got it. And I love Freddie, and I love him on a feature. Uh, as much as I love his solo projects, like if he's on a when he's on a he's one of those artists that when he features on a track, it kind of changes the dynamic. And listening to it in a full album's context, it kind of shows here. Number two for me, we just talked about it, Jesus Crisis. Incredible song. Jake, you quoted lyrics from it. I wanted to point out the beginning of it because I think his rap tag is incredible on this because it's look, machine, bitch, which is hilarious. But
Hmm.
then he spits the following: You gotta salute me. I'm in rare form. I'm back in my devil's reject bag. That is a Rob Zombie reference. I'm back in my devil's reject bag. You gotta rebuke me. You gotta excuse me. I'm the new Jim Jones, Capo, and Louie. And it's like, I mean, like, come on, man. Starting off a track with that after your rap tag is look, machine bit.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? And then, yeah, my favorite track, despite that, that is almost hard to beat. But like I said, Alchemist and Derringer on a beat, at Doe and Damani, and Conway just murders it on that. I love that song. So that's my top.
Yeah, I think there was some sort of sample from Ric Flair or somebody from WCW on one of those
Yeah,
tracks. I forgot what track it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
was like,
there
"That's
was,
fucking
yeah.
yeah.
Ric Flair, dude." I'm like,
You
"Yes, this
wanna,
is
you wanna,
great."
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Like it's awesome. For me, honorable mention was Jesus Crisis. Yeah, I feel like I liked a lot of the songs that was just Conway, just because he, I don't know, he's just being himself and doing his thing. But that was my honorable mention. And then 3-2-1, three was Frontlines. I like that track, kind of a
Nice.
harder track on the album. Number two, Fear of God. And then my favorite track was Spurs 3. I like the feature with Benny. I like Benny the Butcher. He's a little bit more my style, but together they're good mixture of this and that. So yeah, good album. Glad we brought it up.
Hell yeah. I was getting down to Spurs 3 before launching the call today. So
Nice.
glad someone else was loving that. But goddamn, dude. This is a good one. That pressing that you have looks beautiful. It's crazy that it's numbered. I was explaining numbered vinyl to somebody earlier this week, and I was like, you just don't understand. I was like, my buddy Jake, he's got a couple. Like, but yeah, man, From King to a God by Conway the Machine, released in 2020, you said?
2020.
His debut somehow, my God, he knocked it out of the park, both features, production, and with his own bars. I think that's the strongest part. But that's Jake's pick for this week, this wonderful episode 98 of What You Spinning. We'll be right back to wrap things up with my pick. Go ahead and stick around. It's a fun one. We'll talk to you in a sec. Peace. All right, fellas. What do you say we talk about our last piece here? My pick. One that I've been holding off. I think we've mentioned it a couple of times here on the pod, just as far as like what have you been listening to stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, it's a beautiful nighttime edition of What You Spend in here on episode 98.
Mm.
And I'm bringing to the table, I think this is 2002, their seventh album, Medeski, Martin, and Wood, Uninvisible. Jazz fusion, but not your dad's jazz fusion. This is this is what the cool kids listen to, if you ask me. Medeski, Martin, and Wood. You've got John Medeski on keys, you got Billy Martin on drums, and you got Chris Wood on bass. Need I say more? I love this album. Realized a lot of things listening to this album the past 2 weeks. So I'll have some things to say, but you guys go ahead. What do you think?
Matt, toss a coin. Who's go first?
Yeah, I'll go first, man. Dorian's got to bring up some weird avant-garde jazzy shit. No, this is some great music, man. These guys are really talented musicians, and I've heard a couple of their albums in the past, but never like dove into anything or like I couldn't name a song. But this album is just like top to bottom, really fun to listen to. The instrumentation that's going on is really unique. I like the way they blend all three of them together, and they just, I guess, feed off each other because they have a really unique sound. And it's, I don't know, kind of catches you off guard a little bit because you're not used to that kind of structure in a song. And it's definitely got the jazz influence. It's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it is different. It's like Dorian said, it's not your dad's jazz music. It's definitely out there, but it's accessible. I think if you like different instrumentation and different time signatures, this is a perfect album to dive into, and it's really fun. And again, I hadn't really listened to any of their discs or their discography like all the way through, so this album was the perfect introduction to do that. So, good pick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is a fun one. I forget who. I think probably Matt or Dorian. I don't remember, but one of you guys sent a song off of this like months ago. Dorian, okay, yeah. One of you guys sent a song on this months ago in the chat, and I actually listened to it, and it was good. And I've kind of been keeping my eye on the radar for this. But yeah, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah,
But this is a fun one. This one's really good. Definitely some funky, jazzy fusion that's going on here. Not a whole lot of notes went on this one because it was all just like it was just all for vibe, all for feeling. A couple of songs on this are on the Minecraft playlist because they keep the mood light.
right.
The only note I put down on my notepad here was the meters on steroids because it sounds a lot like the meters, but like a more modern, different twist. Torian's going crazy.
I fucking love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it like that's the only thing I could compare it to. But even that was like 40 plus years ago, 30, 40 plus years ago. This is like more modernized, more newer, and it's got a whole different sound to it. It's got some cool synths, some cool pops, some cool jazzy notes on it. The title track, I mean, that is the perfect textbook title track to the album. And it's the first song on the album. So if you need to listen to what this album is about, listen to that first song. Hit play, let the rest of the album play out because it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. It is one that kind of digs its hooks into you pretty early on. And it is I can understand why people might get lost in it a little bit, because it is kind of like I said, it's a little out there. But it's one that I discovered this like March of last year. I found this and heard a song, and I think that's when I sent it because I was like very early on. I was like, guys, this is fucking stupid. Like, this is crazy good. I just love as much as I love the bass playing on this, and I'll get into that in a second. But the organs on this, like the like they are they're all just ripping it so
Yeah.
hard. And I'm like, the fact that they've done 7 albums before this, like these guys are just tearing it up. And they're kind of like I don't know how to like I don't know if there's a better way to describe them other than like a hidden gem in like jam band fandom, because that's kind of how I found out about them. Was I was listening to a lot of like jazz fusion era Herbie Hancock, like that 70s, that early 70s Herbie, and a lot of like bass guitar heavy jazz music, and that's how I discovered this. Uh but yeah, like I posted a song from this on Instagram, and within minutes, my buddy JJ, who's the guy who I mentioned him, he's like getting me into all of this jam shit even more than I already am. He sent me like a live full concert of Medeski, Martin, and Wood, and I was like, "You fucking know them too?" He's like, "Oh, fuck yeah, man!" Like, absolutely. He's like, "They rip." So they are kind of like this hidden gem. Uh, yeah, like I want to ride you. Like the Chris Wood's bass playing on this actually kind of stuck with me and unintentionally, because this isn't, an album that I'm like, oh my God, I listen to it every day. But if I am sitting there and I'm like, I can't decide what to listen to, I throw this on. So like once a month, I listen to this album basically, or at least 5 songs off of it. And I'm listening to it lately, and I was editing some jam tracks that we had recently done, and I was like, "Oh shit, like this album has like massively influenced how I play bass." Like I'm not saying that I'm this good, right? But I'm like noticing things. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's like definitely where I got that from." I'm like, I'm definitely trying to do a Chris Wood thing. And but yeah, I think the instrumentation alone, like they've got those three, but they also have like all of these horn players and legitimate DJs like doing scratches and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It gets crazy. That's why I'm like, listen to the full thing, because by the end of it, you're like, what is happening? I thought this was just 3 guys, and then you go to Wikipedia and the personnel list is like 25 people long. I love it. I'm glad that I was able to bring it up for sure.
Yeah, dude. Favorite part about the album are the song titles alone. Like Your Name is Snake Anthony. That's one of my favorite tracks with the sampling and just the random dialogue going throughout the song. But yeah, these guys are super creative, man. And to know that they've been around since the early '90s too, man. I want to check out some of their earlier work, but this album stand out pretty well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Yeah, I haven't heard any of their other albums, anything else that they've done, but they've been around, and this being their what, seventh album, eighth album, like it's like I want to see the build up to this. Like, how do you get to this playing this good? Because it's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Right.
And I mean, it's a Blue Note record also. I mean, like that kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So you had to have some credibility to be, releasing off of that. But yeah, the just the list of people that are on this is insane. The different instruments that are on this. Like there's congas, there's bata. Shekere, like bottle and bell. Like, what is all this stuff? And then the organ, and then you hear some other things like the trumpets, the horns, everything that comes in on the tracks. Like, you could just tell they're having fun with this. And like building up to this, I was also getting into some of their live music, like seeing some videos and stuff. At
Hmm.
work today, I stumbled upon a live show that they did in Paris like a couple years ago. Really good. And they play like some other stuff that I haven't heard that I'm sure is from other albums that they've done, and phenomenal work. And they're all kind of same thing, just rotating different instruments, people playing the same, one person playing this and then hopping over to that and then doing that. So it's like very much like they all multi-instrumentalists. So they really talented people. And it's kind of cool. And this album is good representation of that because you hear any track of this, they're all kind of different. Like they all have different sounds, different vibes to them. So yeah, really solid project. I'm really stoked that you actually brought this up.
Hell yeah. No, it's an interesting one, and it was one that I was like, oh, maybe I'll see a price drop, maybe they'll repress it, and I could not have been further from correct. But it is a good one to just throw on in the background. You kind of do get lost in it, and Sometimes you'll think that you're in, it's one of those where you think you're in a different song and you're not. Nocturnal Transmission is one of those where it feels like it's four songs packed into one, but it's not even 10 minutes
The
long,
beat
you know?
switches, yeah.
Yeah, like it's just crazy what they're doing in some of these. And yeah, I kind of like how you listen to it and you're not familiar with these guys, but obviously the band name Medeski, it's like, okay, it's these three guys, but
Mm.
why does it sound so massive? And then you look at it, I think that's one of my favorite parts about it now, listening to it and knowing the fact that it has 20 other people coming on it, is because it's like a collaborative thing. Like they didn't use the same guitarist because there is a guitarist on a handful of these tracks, and it's not the same guy throughout. It's like, oh, we're gonna
Mm.
use John What's His Nuts for two songs, and then we'll use Jonathan What's His Cock for the other three, you know? So I do like that they're like, yeah, yeah, we'll just have anybody come on. We're gonna have three different DJs, you know? So I imagine that the recording process for this was fun as hell because one, the music that they're playing is insane. Like literally the first four songs off of this are just that's such an insane four-track run to start an album. So I imagine that the recording sessions for this album were fun as hell. But
Mhm.
all of that to be said, shall we?
We shall.
Let's dive into the deep end of the pool because we don't want to
I
break
do
our
hope you
necks
find
here.
this. I hope you find this on vinyl. You said it's still a pretty penny, like triple digits.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I've never seen it below. I think the lowest I saw it was like 170.
Damn.
Yeah. And it's
Well,
like it's good, but I don't know about that.
yeah, I don't know. I think I'd rather spend that on something else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I
A
the
different vinyl. A different vinyl. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, right.
Right. Like
Right.
the most I've ever spent is $100, and that's like one. It was like it's not numbered, but they only did 500 of this variant. Like,
Mm.
you know. So if it's like crazy one of, actual numbered, I'll spend 170, maybe, probably
Maybe.
not. But anyway, uh it's incredible. I hope so too, Matt. And if I do, I'm sending you guys a link immediately
Mm.
because I think it's like I said, it's a fun one to just throw on in the background and you just kind of do whatever because it sounds like an early 2000s spy movie, so you can kind of get shit
Yeah.
done while you listen to it. Um, but I'll go ahead and do my top threes. Honorable mention for me was Off the Table, the ending song on this. This one it's a really fun one to listen to. Bass wise, he's doing a lot of chords on bass, which is just unheard of. Like it's almost illegal if you're a bass player. Number three for me was Retirement Song. That was a late entry. I literally marked it as I was like,
Oh.
literally did it as I was in here waiting for you guys to join the call. Uh, just love that one. Number two for me was Uninvisible. Just that boom, 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 boom. That little bass walk down. Oh, it gives me fucking goosebumps, dude.
Mm.
And the number one, Nocturnal Transmission. Like I said, it's like four of the coolest jazz fusion songs you've ever heard, packed into like I can't remember how long it is off the top of my head, but it's not very long. And the fact that it kind of switches through it like that is nuts. So Nocturnal Transmission is my favorite.
That is a good track. I like that one too. Honorable mention for me was Off the Table. Again, good track. You kind of summed it up there, Dorian. Number three, First Time, Long Time. Number two, Your Name is Smoke or Snake Anthony. I just love the title of that song, and I don't know, it's kind of unique for them. And then, kind of copying you, buddy, Nocturnal Transmission is the one kind of sets it apart for me and is a staple on this album. So good pick. I'll
Hell
definitely
yeah.
keep my eye out for it too because it's a banger.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this album's super fun. I love it. Ever since you sent it in the chat, I've been listening to it. So, for me, honorable mention, Uninvisible, uh, banger of a song, banger of an album. It sets it up perfectly. Number three, Nocturnal Transmission, also gave a lot of love to that song. Number two is $10 High. And then favorite track was I Want to Ride You. I think that follows up a song that's already hard enough to follow up, but it does a pretty good job of it.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I love the sound of that. I Want to Ride You is a good one too. That also has another, it's like an almost similar like bass walk down.
Mhm.
That's what clued me into this album, like those two tracks. back to back. I was like, oh, this bass player is crazy. I was like, this guy's wild. But anyway, that's 2002's Uninvisible by Medeski, Martin, and Wood. Their seventh album, a great, great jazz fusion pick. Like I said, think of an early 2000s cheesy spy movie. This is the soundtrack for it, but better. That's my pick for this beautiful episode 98 of What You Spinnin'. We will be right back to let you know what's coming for episode 99. We're almost done. Welcome back. It's time to wrap it up for real this time and let you know what's coming in about 2 weeks' time for episode 99 of What You Spinnin'. I know it's crazy. Episode
Whoa.
99. I can't believe it either. But before we do that, I did pose a little question at the
Oh,
beginning.
Yeah, your question.
My question. And my question was, if you could see any album played in its entirety, meaning you just want the whole album as a set list, or you want to experience like what a concert for that tour would have been like because they would play that album and some little snidblits, you know, take it as you will. But that's the question. And I have an answer, but if you guys have one, I'll let you go first.
what you got, Jake? Could you think of anything?
Ooh, I was thinking about it a little bit, not a whole lot. Um I'm gonna go with my gut feeling. If I were to watch any show, any album, um, I think it'd be cool if like, why not? More Garrison.
Oh yeah,
What
dude.
if there was like I don't
Fucking
know.
Plantasia
Plantasia,
What
Live?
if there
dude.
was a
Fuck yeah.
Plantasia album and
Wee.
like the whole show dedicated to Plantasia? I don't know. You take home a plant, you bring in your own plant, you sit with your own plant and
Yeah.
have a show. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool. I would go in personally ripping high or on
Oh fuck
something
yeah.
and
Yeah,
be a
Yeah.
plant myself.
good
So I
pick
think
there.
that'd be pretty cool.
Pinballs. Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to pitch to the Cuthbert.
I don't think it'd be possible to have a backup. So I would love to see another Green
World
World,
by Brian Eno.
Hmm.
but I don't think he really performed that. I think it was more of a studio album. So that being said, I would love to see
The album Pussy's Dead by Autolux performed in its entirety. Because
a lot of the footage.
I've seen them live before and they're just so raw. And just get the sound that they do out of their instruments is really unique. So
That'd be a good one.
Hell yeah. I was going to say, but then my thing froze earlier. But Jake, I like the Mort Garcon. I think that's something we need to pitch to the Cuthbert is bring
ooh,
your plant to
Yes.
listen to Plantasia at the Cuthbert
yeah.
Amphitheater.
That'd be rad.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then Matt, I agree. Eno and Other Green World would be nuts in that same
Mhm.
vein. But Autolux Pussy's Dead, hell of a pick as well. Because you saw, didn't you see them when that album
With
came
they
out?
No, I saw them before when
their
their
first album came out, they opened for Nine Inch Nails a couple times back in the With
Teeth tour, that era.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Mine, and this was what made me think of this question today. Like I said, still listening to CDs in my car. 10,000 Days by Tool
ooh.
is in the CD player. And I heard the Wings for Marie fucking sweet today. And I was like, man, seeing Maynard do this live would be that'd be nuts. Like, and then listening, like Matt, we saw Jambi and the
Saw a lot
Pot.
of heard of
Like,
good ones, yeah.
yeah, we heard actually like a good amount of 10,000 Days, but I'm like, I mean, to be honest, Maynard does not sound like he did back in
No,
2006.
It's probably. I think that's why he doesn't do
a
a
lot
lot.
of those songs, or that's what I've heard in interviews with like Danny Carey and stuff. They like go tour to tour based on, and they play based on what Maynard can hit and what he can't hit, you know. And we
I mean, he was hitting
great notes when we saw him in the Sacenta tour, so
He still
Yeah.
got it. 60, man. That guy's picking up.
No, he definitely does. And that's why I was like, oh, I would love to see this as a full album set list. But then hearing like Lateralis and Enema tracks with him being like still pretty close to when those came out, I'm
mhm.
like, That would be crazy. And he's probably like still painting himself purple and shit,
Yeah, right.
whatever.
Mohawks and yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was what made me think of this. And I know it's almost oh yeah, of course Dorian would pick Tool. But no, like literally it's
What a
because of
tool.
it's because of Wings for Marie. Like I
Yeah.
heard Wings for Marie part two and I was like almost brought to tears and I was like, dude, I was like, I would fucking cry hearing this live. Like the give me my wings and then the fucking guitar. Anyway.
Mhm.
Anyway, I digress. But let's go ahead. I feel like those are good answers. I like all of them.
Yes,
I
I agree.
would pay good money to see all of them. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about what's coming in about 2 weeks, eh? Matt,
Let's go.
you got to start us off. What you got coming?
I dove down a rabbit hole this week. I shared a couple tracks with you guys earlier in the week, but I've never listened to this band, and they've been around for decades. Kind of folky indie music, but it's an album from 2009 called "I and Love and You"
By the Abbott Brothers. This album is fucking amazing. Uh, yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I like it. I've been loving those. I've been listening to all of those. The Rick Rubin one.
When he's like grooving in the background, right?
Dude, it's so good. But yeah, I that's a one of those band names that I've seen a ton and haven't listened to a lot of, and I've loved what
Hmm.
you've been sending. So
Nice.
I'm stoked for that. Jake Aru, what you got, dude?
Yeah, so I will be spinning this. It's kind of wrapping up the summer season, but I love summer and I don't want it to end. So I'm bringing this up just to get one last really squeeze out the season. It is Seaside Lovers, Akira
Oh,
Inoue,
hell yeah, dude.
Masataka Matsutoya, and Hiroshi Sato. Um, 2013. I did look beforehand. I've been sitting on this, guys, for a while. I've been hoping that they bring back the songs that they've taken off of Spotify. So they haven't. So there's like 4 songs missing off Spotify. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have you guys go on YouTube to listen to those. I know it's
That's all
gonna
right.
suck.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
all good.
I'll
Seaside
just listen to the
Lovers.
album on YouTube. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Seaside Lovers, you said?
Seaside Lovers.
I love it. I'm already a big fan. And you know, I kind of just brought up an album that I kind of teased, talked about, but never brought up until now. And I'm about to do the same thing. And sometimes you got to bring up an album to get something out of your system, and I'm definitely doing that now. I'm going with hold on, I think it's
Hold on.
2000. It says 1999 on Spotify, but don't quote me on that. I think it's actually 2000. But I'm going with Wisconsin Death Trip by
Yes.
Static X.
Oh.
Get us we're gonna go a little industrial metal for a little bit before we do episode 100. And I fucking love this album, man. And I was listening to it a lot. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was doing something and listening to it, and I was like, fuck, man, it might be finally time. So yeah, Wisconsin Death Trip,
Well, you got to
Static
push it.
X.
Yeah, I gotta push it.
Yeah, you push it. Yeah,
Yeah, you push it.
that's the album, Jake. So you're about to find out. Don't you worry.
Uh,
Yes.
About time.
I'm glad you brought this one up. Good
Me
time.
too. I'm stoked for all three of these. It's we're all going we just keep all going in like different directions. So
Hell
I
yeah.
love that. But anyway, we got the Avett Brothers, we got Seaside Lovers. I am not even going to try to replicate what you just said, Jake.
Mm.
The artist names are and then Static X. And that'll be a hell of an episode 99. I'm Dorian, that's Matt, that's Jake. We are What You Spinnin'. Have a great weekend. Listen to some good music. Tell someone you love them. Eat some good food, and take it easy. And maybe start wearing a hoodie. It's getting cold out there. We'll catch you next time. Peace.